Pleased to have Kathy Nugent here at the table,
Yes.
who's an oncology social worker. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This is October. What do you do as a social worker in dealing with women with cancer?
Well, we help them just really understand what they're going through. We give them the opportunity to talk about their feelings, what the diagnosis has meant to them, their family, the effect it's had.
Are there enough places for women to be able to talk about things? Do we need more places? Because when you first get a diagnosis, as you say, you're in a state of shock.
Right.
What do I do? I've got cancer. Now
Right.
what?
Right. Well, I'm a social worker at Cancer Care, and we have a hope line. And I would encourage women to give us a call.
And it's called a Hope Line.
Well,
what does that mean?
It's the Cancer Care Helpline or Hope Line. It's 1-800-813-HOPE. And those phones are answered by social workers, oncology social workers that can help women and all patients who are dealing with any cancer. But certainly with breast cancer, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, women can call us and speak with an oncology social worker. And when the women call us, they're concerned about themselves. They're certainly concerned about their families. How do they take care of them? How do they take care of their families? How do they take care of themselves?
What do you tell them? Because there's no booklet.
There isn't. There's no.
Every situation is different.
Every situation is different. We offer them hope. We give them the opportunity to be able to talk to somebody, to be able to express their concerns, their feelings, and sometimes that's a real gift to be able to listen to somebody and give them some direction.
What comes out in a support group? What do folks say besides, okay, I have 3 young children at home, I have stage 3 breast cancer, you know, what am I going to do? How am I going to face this? Which doctor should I pick? Is he or she telling me the right thing? Should I go to another hospital? What happens in these support groups?
Well, in the support groups, the beauty of a support group is that they're sharing concerns with each other. So the one thing that happens in a support group is women and patients, they don't feel alone. So many times coming into the situation, they feel that there's nobody else that could understand. So a support group is a wonderful opportunity for patients to be able to sit with other patients who have similar concerns and just sharing and kind of supporting each other. It's really an amazing tool.
How long have you been an oncology social worker?
For a long time.
How many years?
You really want to know?
Yeah, bring it out.
Okay, I've been with Cancer Care for 32 years,
So
for a long time.
So 32 years, Kathy. Over those 32 years, what kind of changes have you seen, either in talking to patients or what they're telling you? What has happened over more than 3 decades?
Well, I can tell you one thing. When I first started working in this field, people didn't talk about cancer. Now people talk about cancer. And an example would be the support groups. Years ago, we didn't have support groups. Now people can talk about cancer, so it's more out there. And certainly we've seen changes in how patients are treated. Organizations such as Cancer Care have been able to provide the support to patients. And I think we can talk about it now. That's really the big change.
You probably have also seen women who are making it, who are survivors.
Absolutely.
30 plus years ago, it was a much different story.
Absolutely.
Can you shed light on that?
Yeah, I would say, you know, years ago, as I said, we didn't really talk too much about cancer, but and treatment was more difficult. Side effects were certainly difficult, and what's happened through the years is more and more medications are now available to help with the side effects. Now we see women living much longer. I have one client that I've recently reconnected with, and she was told 18 years ago with metastatic breast cancer that she had 3 years to live, and she had a 13-year-old son, and she didn't want to listen to that. And she's 18 years now, metastatic breast, doing well, retired, doing volunteer work in the community. So there's this real message of hope out there now.
We talked about this before we went to tape, about you can either let cancer defeat you or you can go, damn the torpedoes, I'm going to beat this and I'm going to be around for my kids.
Absolutely.
Do you see both here? And if you do see this defeated person before you, how do you pull them out of it?
It's difficult. I think the first thing that we do as social workers is let them talk about their feelings. We help them to express what they, you have to kind of face those feelings first before you can really do anything with it. And then once we help them to express those concerns, we kind of work with them to see how we can help them. How can we reframe the cancer experience to something that they can say, you know, I can turn this around. This might be a blessing in disguise. And I've seen so many patients who have, when they're first diagnosed, be really overwhelmed emotionally and physically. But after helping them to process, it is a process, it takes time, that they've then been able to reframe and say, you know what, every day is important, every day is a blessing, and I'm grateful for that day.
What do the children say? You work with kids too, and you have to let them talk. What are some of the things that they say?
Well, I think, you know, kids are kids. They want to be kids, and I think it's important for us to allow our children to be kids. So we tell them what, a little bit at a time, what's age appropriate. And, you know, kids bounce back. It's much better to be truthful with them and give them appropriate, age-appropriate information, because then they can cope. Communication is so important. Kids have a way of creating magical thinking. So if we can give them some information, those fears can be lessened. So again, it's all age appropriate.
In ways of helping families cope, there's something called Meal Train.
The Meal Train.
And we're looking at the website here.
Right.
And this came to my mind because I have actually used it for a friend who was in an accident. And it is a great website to help you plan meals and have folks do something to help a family in need. And if we click on see a sample, you can kind of see what happens. You get reminded of when I supposed to make a meal, and I decided, well, I'm going to do chicken pot pie on February the 14th, or this date is available. On Meal Train, there is something for women with breast cancer. Explain. Once you sign up for mealtrain.com, you can go in there and find a separate place.
Absolutely.
For folks with breast cancer.
Right.
What are we going to find
So
there?
just the Meal Train in general is a convenient way to organize meals. You know that. You said you've used that. But if you go in and set up a Meal Train for breast cancer, you get a page that has a lot of information about resources and information about nutrition for breast cancer.
So this is kind of something that you're saying, you've got a
this
little
is
brochure.
This is kind of what it kind of shows, that the Meal Train helps you to organize so that you're not getting the same meal
so
from
lasagna,
everybody.
You're not getting Monday through Friday.
Exactly. So it's really a wonderful way to be able to schedule and pick a day and a meal that you can cook. What's really nice about the Meal Train is that the patient, let's say, creates the Meal Train, and she can put down if she has allergies or she doesn't like lasagna
So that's the
or
nutrition
meatloaf.
involved with this.
Absolutely. They can set it up to what her needs are, to the patient's needs. And then you send out an email to family, friends, and the community, and they go in and look at the calendar and say, okay, well, Monday, that day is open, and I can cook turkey or whatever it is. And it's just a wonderful way to organize and deliver. And the other piece with doing a Meal Train is that when a patient is dealing with cancer, breast cancer, any cancer, sometimes, particularly with mothers and women, we don't like to ask for help.
No, because we're nurturers.
Absolutely. So this is a great way for patients to be able to get help without really have to asking much. And for us, the caregivers and family and friends, we say, what can we do to help? What can we do to help? And sometimes patients don't know or can't say, but this is a wonderful way for caregivers and the community to help a patient.
Well, it's awesome. Whether you've had a baby or in a car accident, have breast cancer, mealtrain.com is awesome because I've used it. As a oncology social worker, what have you learned about people over more than 3 decades?
I have learned, I'm blessed, first of all, to be able to do this work. To me, it's a love. It's not a job. It's a career. I love what I do. I have been blessed to have the experience of sitting with patients, caregivers, and bereaved, and listening to their stories, intimate stories that, you know, sometimes people don't want to listen to these stories. They don't know how, they don't want to talk to their family. So I feel that I've been blessed to be able to share in the lives of so many of my patients for all these years.
Can you give me one example of something that is a takeaway for you in your life, that somebody said something very poignant to you that you tell other folks that you see?
Well, I can tell you one story. Just this week this happened. We did a fundraiser in New Jersey for cancer care, and it was a walk. And I was leaving the office the other day, and this woman was coming in to see one of our social workers. We do face-to-face counseling, and I went up to her and I thanked her for coming to our walk. She had a team and raised a lot of money, and her husband is dealing with brain cancer. And I said, I want to thank you so much for coming and giving support to cancer care. And she looked at me, she took my hands, and she said, no, Kathy, I want to thank you, because this walk gave me and my family so much. She said, when we came home from the walk, our family and friends gave us a surprise party. And to me, that's what it's all about. You know, when my patients and clients say to me, no, we thank you. And, you know, it's sometimes just hard to imagine that we're doing so much, but we really are.
Well, Kathy Nugent, continue your work.
Thank you.
It's important, and thank you for coming on, and I wish you well.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
When one missing, who's this girl? Spend all night kissing, and if one was right here, then who else is missing? Got a little sidetracked if I'm so wishing to find the keys to the door, but it's also a metaphor. Need to keep locked in the grocery store, but mine just to save time. Skip right ahead to the last ride. The harder we look, the less we can see. Don't you know, you know, you know that you